Jo, when you look out over Edinburgh, you wrote so much of the beginning of your book at a cafe.
Yeah.
And the last chapter of your book in the Balmoral, beautiful hotel. Talk about where your life has come over all these years. What goes through your mind?
Finishing has certainly made me look back a lot. And it is almost incredible to me at times what's happened. And there's certainly moments when I imagine that I've dreamt it all.
Well, you know, this is an interesting experience for you because you've never had the chance after a book to talk.
It's just really liberating.
And now you look at, I mean, I'm reading the book sales for this book. In America, 5,000 a minute. Off the shelves.
Really? Oh my God. Oh my God. See, I can't really comprehend that.
But could you ever have imagined back then what this would turn into?
No, Harry saved us, security-wise. I mean, he turned my life around completely, and it's been phenomenal and so unexpected.
What's next for you?
I'm going to take a break, definitely, and I'm just going to savour for a while the feeling that I don't have a deadline. It's just really liberating to think I can almost return to the beginning and write any old thing and see where it goes, and I don't have any pressure on me, and there's no particular expectation that anything will get finished.
17 years, 7 books. What do you want people to take away from all this?
If it's true that Harry got people reading, anyone who wouldn't otherwise have enjoyed books or started to enjoy books, then that's the best thing anyone could say to me.
Did you feel, in writing the 7th book, a sense of responsibility to those fans?
It always well, yes, I definitely felt a sense of responsibility in that I wanted to make it the very, very, very best book I could. I am often asked, well, don't you feel guilty? You're killing people, characters that kids love, and it sounds horrible and heartless to say no. But the truth is that when you're writing, you have to think only of what you're writing. Even my nearest and dearest, my sister, as she opened the book, just looked at me over the top of it and said, if you kill Hagrid, I will never forgive you.
Well, you're lucky you didn't kill Hagrid.
Yeah. But I never planned to kill Hagrid, so...
The end of the book, I had read that the last word was supposed to be Scar. But
and it was, for a long, long time. For a long time, the last line was something like, only those whom he loved could see the lightning scar. And that was a reference to the fact that Harry was kind of flanked by his loved ones.
To all was well.
All was well.
And you knew when you came up with that line, that was it.
It just felt, I felt a kind of, and that felt right.
I want to talk a little bit about the movies, because I know when that first was presented to you, you said no.
Yeah.
You weren't interested. Mm-hmm. What changed your mind?
Well, the biggest thing, by far, was that I was looking for an agreement that said they would follow my story, even though the rest of the books weren't written.
And have you been happy with them?
I've been really happy with them. Visually, it's so close as to be virtually indistinguishable, particularly Hogwarts.
And Daniel and Emma and Rupert, who play the 3 leads, have nothing but wonderful things to say about you. How do you feel about them? I mean, they're inhabiting your characters.
Yeah, they're all amazing. And I told all 3 of them, the 3 main ones. Emma, Daniel, and Rupert knew more than they've ever let on.
Did any of them ask, are you going to off me?
Yeah, Dan did, yeah.
Daniel did? And did you tell him?
At one point he said, look, I've just got to ask you, do I die? And I thought quick, and then I whispered, so no one else could hear, I said, you get a death scene. But Dan's very smart, and I'm pretty sure he would have walked away from that dinner thinking, yeah, I get a death scene, but what does that mean? He didn't say, yes, you die, so I hope he's happy.
I know now that NBC Universal, our parent company, has started, there's going to be a theme park.
Yeah, the Universal Studios.
Yes, Universal Studios. Or are you looking forward to that? Or,
I'm looking forward to that 100%. I want to be first on the rise. It's going to be amazing.
One of my favorite scenes is in the first book. It's the mirror.
Yeah, that's my favorite chapter of the first book.
Oh, it is as well?
Definitely.
I don't know, there's something about that, and when he looks in that mirror and sees his family, that is so moving to me. If I had that mirror here and you looked into that mirror, what do you think you would see?
I would definitely see what Harry sees. I would have seen my mother. I would be able to have a conversation with my mother.
Well, she had battled MS for 10 years.
Yeah.
How did that shape you as a young woman, and how did her departure, her death, affect this book?
definitely Mum dying had a profound influence on the books, because I had been writing about Harry for 6 months when she died, and in the first draft his parents were disposed of really in quite a almost cavalier fashion. 6 months in, my mother dies, and I really think from that moment on death became a central, if not the central theme of the 7 books. And in many ways all of my characters are defined by their attitude to death and the possibility of death.
Did your mom ever know that you were writing this?
No. That's one of my biggest regrets. She never knew. She would have loved this. She would, I mean, just in the sense that any mother wants to know that their child is successful, but she would have been at every event I did. She would have had so much vicarious pleasure out of knowing who I'd met, and would have been fascinated and interested, and that's a massive regret that I didn't at least tell her.
Had you been one of these students that ended up at Hogwarts and they put the Sorting Hat on you, which one of the houses do you think you would have ended up in?
I mean, the virtue that I prize among all others, and I think it's patently obvious from the books, is courage. So I would hope to be in Gryffindor. Whether I would be judged worthy or not, I don't know.
Do you think that most people in this world are more like the Harrys, or most people in this world are more like the Dracos?
I'm reasonably optimistic about human nature. Most people are decent. What's interesting to examine is what happens to decent people when they're frightened.
As Stephen King said, this character is right up there with some of the greats.
That's very kind of him.
Frodo and Dorothy and Huckleberry Finn. I suppose it's mind-boggling to think that your book is up on that same shelf.
It is, and ultimately, if the books deserve to survive, they will survive, and if they don't deserve to survive, they won't. That's it. History will judge. That ultimately is what matters, and it really helps you put everything else in perspective.